One mind, one world. What's good, people? Fellas, ladies, aliens who may be tuning in. I just wanted to speak about race and crime statistics in the United States as it pertains to police killings or killing of U.S. citizens by the blue shirts, as I call them. There were the brown shirts in Germany, the SA, and then we have the blue shirts in the United States. So this was actually inspired, this video was inspired by a comment made by one of my subscribers on my interview I did this morning with Big Sam. And he said something to the effect of basically pointing out that whites are killed by police in greater numbers. And I wanted to look into this, and my subscriber actually was right. And I looked up the stats, and depending on where you get your stats from, they're slightly different, but they're more or less the same in terms of rank of who gets shot the most. So this is from the last 3 years, 2017 to 2020. So in 2017, as you can see, and I don't know why they didn't group it according to year instead of race, because it just makes it more difficult to read. But blue is 2017, right? So whites were killed the most, and then blacks, then Hispanics, others, and then unknowns. So probably some aliens were killed. And in 2018, it was the same. Actually, unknowns. I'm not really sure what the other and unknown difference is. Basically, other means 2 or more races. 2019, same rank. 2020, same rank as well. The only thing that fluctuated was the difference between the unknown and the other, which, I mean, it's kind of negligent, I guess. I would say. I don't know why they don't categorize this more specifically, but I guess after the 2014 Ferguson shooting, it was found that police or FBI had been underreporting police killings by almost half because they were not required by law to, and I think that has since been changed. But I wanted to speak on the point that my subscriber made, that whites are killed the most by blacks, and this is true. This is 100% true, and I actually just retweeted a video this morning about, well, it was a white guy getting executed, summarily executed by a police officer. And I can't find it now. I thought I retweeted it. Maybe I didn't. But it was at a national park, and he just executed this white guy, this young white guy. It looked like he was maybe late 20s or early 30s. I couldn't really tell. But once I'll find the video, and then I'll link it in the description. I don't know why I can't find it right now on my Twitter. But so my subscriber was right. He was correct that whites are in fact killed the most out of all races in the United States. But I think when you look at statistics, you have to look at the representation of demographics in the United States as it pertains to total number of people killed. So when we do that, so let's take this particular graph, for example, and let's do the most recent killings. So let's do 2020, shall we? So we got 204 whites killed so far in 2020. Well, since we're not done yet with the year, let's go on a previous year, yeah. So let's go 2017, because there's a ridiculous number of people killed then. So 2017, 457 whites killed by police. And most of them, I think something like 98% of these people are unarmed, 90%, somewhere in there. So what we do is we look at the total number of people in the United States according to race. And according to a 2017 estimate, which is the year that we're looking at, there were 234 million. I'm going to round to the nearest half million. So 234.5 million white people in the United States. So what am I going to do? I'm going to divide 457 divided by 234.5 million. And we will see what we get. So 457 divided by 234.5 million is 0.0001%. So, that's not negligible by any means. People executed by police, it's a tragedy, no matter what the fraction of the total population is. So that's 0.001. Let me write that down in the chat box. I'll just write the whole number. Percent of whites executed by police. Now let's look at the next category, which is blacks. And again, we're looking at 2017. So that's the blue. There are 223 killed in 2017. And I, again, am looking at the 2017 estimation that I found on Wikipedia for the number of blacks, which is 40. What I'm going to do, for the benefit of the doubt of anybody listening, is I'm going to add not only the blacks, but anyone who's mixed with blacks as well, okay? Because when police see someone who looks black, they don't care if they're half black or not, right? So we have total number of blacks is 40.5 million. Plus white and black or African American is 2.5 million. Plus black or African American. Oh, that's a non-Hispanic. Okay, Hispanic. Okay. Oh no. Okay, here we go. White and black or African American. White and American Indian. Okay, here we go. Black or African American and American Indian / Alaska Native. That's 320,000. So we get a total of 5,320,000 people who are at least half black, according to the 2017 estimate. That is not right. Is it? Okay, yeah, this is this calculator. It doesn't hold enough zeros. Okay, let me do that. Let me do that again. I have to turn it on its side. My phone. I hate this fucking phone. As soon as it craps out, I'm getting an Android. I just can't stand it anymore. Okay, where was I? So 40 million and 1/2 million. I'm rounding down there because it's to the nearest half million. Plus white and black, which is 2.5 million. Again, I'm rounding down. So that's 43 million about. And then once again, about 320,000 black / native, which comes to a total of 43,320,000. So 43,320,000 estimated total blacks in the United States in 2017. 43,320,000. So again, we're going to take 223 divided by 43 million. $220,000 times 100 to get the percentage, right? And we get 0.000515. Okay, so I did 4 decimals for the whites, 3, and I'll do again 4 decimals for blacks too. And I didn't truncate and I didn't round the percentage. 345, 345. And I will do Hispanics as well. Here, let me make, I'm going to write the race so people know what I'm talking about. So 0.005159.6% of blacks executed by blue shirts police in 2017. So again, I'm doing 2017 for this example and for the point I'm trying to make. YouTube rejected your comment. Really? Okay. Ridiculous. And let's do Hispanics, and then I'm not going to do the others and unknowns because it's kind of this, I mean, if I don't know the race, I can't really use it for the point I'm trying to make. And we're trying to analyze this according to race, right? So we're going to have to ignore the other and unknowns according to this particular graph. So again, we're looking at the year 2017. 179 Hispanics executed by police. So we look again at the estimates, and I'm using here. I'll put it in the comments, and then I'll put it in the description too, so people know where I'm getting the estimates from. It's from this particular page in Wikipedia under the race and ethnicity section. So we look at Hispanics. Okay, Hispanic or Latino of any race. 56,510,000. So that is about 17.6% of the total population. And that's easier because we don't have to add the other ones up. So 56,500,000 or 56.5 million, because again, we are rounding to the nearest 500,000, as I said before. 56,500,000. And 2017 Hispanics killed was 179. So again, we're going to do 179 divided by 56,500,000 times 100 to get the percentage. And what do we get? 0.00031681 So again, I truncated to 8 points or 5 numbers after the first 3 zeros. Percent of Hispanics executed by police in 2017. Let me just type this up on a note really quick so people can see them side by side, because I know if you don't see them side by side, it can be kind of hard to see what's going on as far as the comparison of notes. And oh, okay, so that makes it a little easier to copy. I can't copy and paste my notes or my comments for some reason. 31681. 81% of Hispanics executed by police in 2017. And then 0.00051596% of blacks executed by police in 2017. And for the whites, it is, where are you? Ah, there you are. No, that's not it. What? Dude, they, oh, here we go. I was like, what? It's back here. Okay, whites, it's 0.0019488% of whites executed by police in 2017. And I'll do this on a Google Drive doc, so it's a little easier to see. And again, we're looking at not only the absolute number or the total number of people killed by police in 2017 according to race, but also, oh my gosh, but also we are looking at the percentage as well. Here we go. Let's zoom in. I don't know if I can make this bigger. Looks like I can't really. So if you guys can see that. Not really. Okay, well, hopefully you can zoom in. I don't think I can zoom in here. So if we look at the numbers, do you post on Patreon? I don't post on Patreon yet, Venus. I'm going to do all my uploads very soon, commercial free on Patreon, so people can get that. But I've been trying to upgrade my internet for about a week now, and it's gotten postponed twice. But tomorrow at 2 p.m., the tech guy should be coming, and it's finally got permission from the tenants downstairs, because the tech guy has to go downstairs to install the internet, because he has to access the coax connection down there, because it doesn't work up here for some reason. So I am going to update that. I know I said I would update that a few weeks ago, but my internet just has not. Like, I tested it last night, and it was 5 megabytes download speed, which, if you know anything about internet speed, is ridiculously slow. That's slower than the worldwide average, let alone the U.S. average or something like that. So I should have faster internet tomorrow night at the latest, unless something else comes up. So let's see if I can. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna do it on Safari, because for whatever reason, if you use Google Chrome, you just can't access Google Drive, which doesn't really make any sense at all, because they're both made by Google. But I'm gonna paste these numbers because I don't want people complaining that they can't see the numbers when I do this later. So okay, that's too big. That is good right there. Okay. And share screen. And we're going to go Safari. Okay, here it is. So this is the stats according to 2017. And this was, of course, inspired by the guy who commented. So we look, 0.003% of Hispanics, 0.005% of blacks, and let's round up for the whites, 0.002% of whites. So although, and I'll write the total number as well on here, so people know what that was. And I'm using this particular graph here that I had up earlier. So 457, 223. $223 and 179. There we go. Okay, so now you see the totals in parentheses. Let me scroll down a sec. Okay, there we go. So you do see that the total number of people killed by police in 2017, and we just picked this particular year as an example, the total number was whites at number one, right? By far, almost twice as twice the amount of blacks were killed, of whites were killed than blacks, and what's that? About 3 times the number of Hispanics, right? But when you look at the total proportion of those particular races killed according to how many people in that demographic are in the United States, the proportion is greatest among blacks, as you can see, 0.0005%. It's second greatest among Hispanics, 0.0003%. And then it's third greatest among whites, 0.000. And again, let's round up for whites, 2%, because that's very, very close to 0.0002%. Yes. So yes, the whites were definitely the greatest number of people killed by police, and you see this actually every year. Those same rankings were consistent for 2018, 2019, and so far in 2020 as well. So I think that my subscriber, whoever that was, I can't remember his name, he made a good point. Whites are the highest number of people killed by the police every year, but the highest proportion or highest fraction is blacks, and then it's Hispanics, and then it's whites. So it depends how you look at it, right? Because, and the reason for this is because whites make up the greatest number of people according to race in the United States. Again, using those stats from Wikipedia in 2017, whites are about 73% of the population, blacks about 13%, Hispanics about 17.5%. And so that's where we get those proportions from. So what do we conclude from this, people? One, I think, is that police kill everybody, right, of any race. They execute people of all races. And again, I will link that video of it's a young white guy. I think it's a national park somewhere in the Mountain West or the West, and it's just a white guy, a white police officer just executes him on the spot. And I'm sure he didn't get in any trouble because we live in a police state. So I do think that the media, and I know they do, they racialize every single issue. And they do it to, I think, divide us, to make whites resentful of blacks and blacks resentful of whites. And it seems to be working. So takeaways, again, one, police kill people of all races, usually young men. And the number one killer of young men in the United States is execution by police, by far. Number two is it's important to look at the proportions of those people killed by police according to their race as well. But it's not the end-all be-all. And I think that's what the media does, is they look at the proportion, right? They say, well, blacks are the highest proportion killed, right, compared to how many there are. That is true. That is definitely true. And I think that's a testament to the racism that exists within law enforcement and our government. And we see that trend with Hispanics as well, right? But that being said, we shouldn't disregard the almost 500 people that were killed by police in 2017. And this year, what's 84? 116 so far this year. So it's even greater this year. I'm sorry, I looked at it wrong. 204, so it's even greater. Looks like they're on track to pretty much meet that number, that 457 number this year as well, as far as whites go. So it seems to be a pretty consistent number. So that's another takeaway, is not only to take away the fact that, yes, they're the greatest total number is whites, but two, looking at the proportions, and three, understanding that just because the media racializes this issue doesn't mean it's a black and white issue or an issue that is only black, right? You see this, I mean, time and time again. And according to Robert David Steele, the ex-CIA guy, and I've actually heard this from at least one other source as well, our police were trained by the IDF. And these are Robert Steele's words. These are not my words. I want to make that very clear. Because I know talking about IDF in Israel is, even among my colleagues here on YouTube, is a very touchy subject, because it seems like everybody has pretty strong opinions when it comes to that particular country in the Middle East. And according to Robert David Steele, ex-CIA, who's a white guy, which shouldn't matter, but it seems to matter to some people, is our law enforcement learned not only to be trained by the IDF, but to see us, the citizens of the United States, as scum, dirt, shit by law enforcement, right? Regardless of race, okay? And so, and this is a kind of a, it's not black versus white, it's blue versus you, right? Blue versus all of us, and particularly young men. But, I mean, again, it's not just young men. I mean, you can find videos of police battering women. And there's no excuse for any of this. But I don't think you can find a more blatant example of an abuse of power than 2 male police officers battering a woman. Even 1 male police officer. Show me a woman in the entire world who could take me on, let alone a trained police officer. A woman is not a threat to 2 male police officers, even Ronda Rousey, okay? And I know there's some women out there who may hear this and get offended, but it's true, okay? Men are way more combat ready than women are. And, I actually like watching MMA, female MMA, but we have to be honest about this type of stuff when it comes to people getting killed. White people, black people, Hispanic people, all usually young men getting killed. But again, it's not just men. You see women getting battered too, as well. So I do want to give a shout out. Let me just look up his name real quick. It was actually on my interview I did this morning, which is kind of funny because I was awake. I slept and then I woke up, and it's all happened this morning with a big Sam Samworth. It was, where is he at? JC. So shout out to JC. For putting that comment, because it did motivate me to look at the stats a little deeper. And again, depending on what stats you look at or where you get your stats, the numbers fluctuate a bit. But that being said, the rankings are pretty much the same according to absolute numbers. So whites have the greatest numbers, blacks the second, and Hispanics the third. So stop calling it execution. Not all are executions. Most aren't. You're right. Not all are executions, but I would beg to differ with you on that, Billy. I think most of them are indeed executions. When it's a killing of an unarmed citizen, I would classify that as an execution. Again, for the simple Simons who may be listening, and I'm not saying that's you, Billy A., there are instances where lethal force is justified 100%. If a criminal is pointing a gun at the police, I think that's justifiable, right? But most of these instances, white guys or whites, blacks, or browns, most of them are not armed, not dangerous. Even if they are armed with a knife, like, kneecap them, shoot them in the legs, if you're such a professional. But no, these people enjoy violence. These people enjoy killing. That's why they signed up. They signed up to use the weapons, as Billy Costigan said in one of my favorite movies, The Departed, by Scorsese. It's Scorsese's masterpiece, one of his masterpieces. use their weapons. They signed up to use their weapons, most of them. So I'll leave it at that. What do you guys think? Is my interpretation of statistics flawed? What do you guys think? Let me know. Stay frosty. Don't talk to cops. Avoid them at all costs because they will fuck you over if you let them. All right, ads out.